Actually, that lamp works. Oh, whoops. Hey, this is 012Boku and
Trouble. Trouble incarnate. Hello, people.
Jarek coming at you with another review of our episodes of Wabam. Don't know if you can see it there, but Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood Part 1. And we're coming at you with the next episode of Brotherhood, Episode 11, Miracle at Rush Valley. And
AKA Tomboy Master Class.
Indeed, in many ways, because to start off with this episode, it goes to continue on. The narrator makes a brief mention of Mayhew's death and how the Elric brothers and Winry know nothing about it. So sucky that situation. But they get to Rush Valley where we see Winry geeking out, don't we, Jerk?
Oh, indeed. Something so adorable about just seeing her nerd out over automail.
Indeed, they are at automail heaven where we get nice little quip shots and montages basically of people working on automail, people living with automail there. It's basically automail heaven. And a funny scene with Winry geeking out. But not only that, people looking at Edward Elric's automail and then undressing him in his underwear and wanting to tinker with it, while also feeling up Alphonse and thinking about it and funny stuff.
Yeah, because Alphonse is the alchemy master of the woo face.
Yeah, and basically, with a little bit more of threatening and prodding, Edward gets out of the situation, but also not before his watch is stolen by a famous pickpocket, which two men wanted to say, well, we'll help you find out who she is, but can we take you apart one more with the automail? And then he threatens them by cutting them with his knife arm, and, they're like, up the valley of the mountain to the old guy, or whatever it was, and off they go.
Yeah, go find the Mandarin in the Valley of Spirits. Oh, I need the old automail expert at the bottom of the valley.
And basically, Rush Valley is in the middle of a desert valley in the mountains, sort of like I would say akin to Death Valley almost.
Or the Grand Canyon, given how deep it was.
Well, that's true. And they're going through there. They're sweating. Winry and Edward are fighting. Alphonse is trying to calm the situation. As you can tell, nobody's listening. And all of a sudden, they run into the girl that stole Edward's pocket watch, and she's on another lower tier crossing this long rope bridge. And her name is Peninia, played by Ekami Okamura and Cynthia Kranz.
Gesundheit.
Indeed. And I forgot to mention, should have mentioned too, Edward Elric is voiced by Romy Paku, Romy Paku and Vic Mignogna, and Alphonse Elric, Rie Kugamiya, Maxie Whitehead, and Winry Rockbell is Megumi Takamoto and Caitlin Glass.
Vic Mignogna, the anti-bitch lasagna.
Yeah, sadly to some of their friends, but from what I understand, that's cool a little bit. But I will say on a side note, it's a shame that even though he was acquitted of all those claims, that he's not really allowed back anywhere, sadly.
Innocence. Twitter doesn't speak this language.
Well, neither does Facebook and several of them, Jared. But we know this all too well, don't we?
Yep.
But anyway, it involves a hilarious cat and mouse chase where Edward is going nuts, basically has red demon eyes and shark teeth foaming at the mouth, trying to chase after her, creating these mountains with his alchemy, rushing at her, and creating arms to grab her. Peninia seems to be very skilled. She's jumping very fast, going up the mountains, being able to leap and bound at the same time, which is really impressive in the animation technique.
Able to leap to tall conclusions in a single bound.
Yes.
I mean, tweet.
And she's not Superman. But anyway, what happens is while she's being chased, Alphonse catches her in a metal cage that he drew with an alchemic circle on the ground, and they think they have her. Little do they know that Peninia has automail legs, to where she uses the left leg to slice open the automail with her with a scythe that's to her leg, and she has a rocket launcher on the other knee that she uses to blast them. She's running away, and in typical fashion, Winry catches her and then says, you're not getting away from me. Alphonse and Edward are telling her to hold on. And then she's like, I want to view your automail. Let me jump up and down with Geeky Hearts.
And I just find it so funny because bitches love cannons.
Yeah, well, when you're a Winry Rock Bell, you love cannons and you love things. And like how...
Plus that scene of Panini just like being so nervous while she's examining her legs. Her automail legs is like, bet she never thought she'd get perved on by a woman.
Yeah, well... it was hard to, because of all the text, it was hard to see what she was saying in Japanese, but in English, you have Caitlin Glass saying, I want to take you apart, put you back together again, because she just loves Paninia's automail so much. And then, they're there at this one guy's place, and his name is, Dominic, and he's voiced by Shuzo Izuka and Greg Dulce, however you say the name. And he's basically this top automail designer and, developer. And he makes these great automails. He says that, Winry makes them too heavy. You're studying Edward's growth. Edward has this dream of him being taller than Alphonse and her. Oh my God.
So wait a minute. If she was a better automail thing, I might grow taller. It's possible.
Yeah. And then that dream is crushed because Dominic then calls him a bean sprout after insulting a flea after insulting, Winry's automail design.
And of course,
that crushes him.
And of course, Winry asked to become his apprentice. Like, no, I don't take apprentices.
Yeah, Dominic shut her down for really no good reason, obviously. But I mean, I guess you could sort of understand, but still, But either way, this leads to the next part of the show where Alphonse and Edward run into. There's two people living there. There's a man and his wife. Obviously, I'm going to say, Riddell, who is Dominic's son, and his wife, Satere. And Satere is voiced by Jess Sayuri in Japan, and Susan Huber. And Riddell is voiced by, Takayoshi Kawashima, Christopher Bevins.
And it's really cute because if you look at that thumbnail Boku here put on for this video, Riddell has the Captain No Face from Monster Musume.
Yeah, and because there's a part where they're listening to the baby, because that's the next part of the story is where Satere is pregnant, and there's a cute little scene where Alphonse and Edward are feeling the baby kicking, and they're fascinated by the miracle of life, which is a very cool scene, and I will not deny that was awesome. And then all of a sudden, as we go to a quick little scene where you have, actually, no, not a quick little scene. This is an important scene. It goes back to Winry and Panini really quick. And Winry's examining Panini's legs, happy with the automail. We learn the truth about Panini. She got injured in a train accident. Both her parents were killed. Dominic found her with the very sad face as she was living in an alleyway. She fell out of her wheelchair, I guess, or something, because there was a wheelchair in the background. And he just carries her off because he can't stand the sullen look on her face.
And he just, gives her those new legs. And you see like this image of her happy outside, with her new legs, looking at the sun. And apparently she wants to like try to pay him back, but he'll never accept money. So she's like pickpocketing to try to get money to pay him back. Because this is something you would really only understand if you've ever been in a wheelchair, but being stuck in one of those things, not being able to just go out and walk, it kills people. It really does.
It does. And, she wanted to be grateful to him by doing this, but all of a sudden something snaps in Winry and she says, well, then stop stealing. Stop being a pickpocket. If you really want to show Dominic what you can do, get a job, go to work, earn your money the right way. That's how you'll get his respect, is that you'll, do the right thing. You won't be stealing from people.
And anymore. I love how she says it to her, too. She says, if you really want to prove yourself to Dominic, stand on your own two legs. Don't pickpocket. Earn your money the right way.
Absolutely, yeah. And, that was a great scene, and really great scene with Winry there. And after that happens, actually another thing. I can't believe I almost skipped over it. You have the part where Panini goes, well, maybe I should give this watch back to Edward. Oh, well, I can't open it. And then, they discover it's sealed with alchemy. And Winry getting all excited, takes out multiple screwdrivers, and with a nice sing-song face, opens up the thing. And then Panina reads inside, and probably should have wrote it down, but I think I remember. Remember October 3rd, year 11. It's scratched right on the inside of the pocket watch.
Yeah, it was actually Winry who saw that, but yeah, she like
no, Winry saw it, and remember Panina read it out loud.
But she's got like all these tools in her hands, like she's that girl from Monogatari, you know. You all know the one.
Exactly. And all of a sudden, Winry reads it out loud, and we get this weird scene where she just gives it back to Panina and looks sad, and she's like, yeah, you probably should give that back to him. She looks very sullen, and we're wondering what that sort of means. And then she basically uses that to one more time work up the resolve to go and ask Dominic one more time to be her apprentice. But then all of a sudden, as soon as she leaves the room, you have Edward come in and say, the bay. And then she's a horse? And then she's like, a horse? And there's a little horse that goes up across the screen in a funny way. And then Edward just screams out, gee, you said Terry's having a baby. And then
baby.
The wide-eyed, just gasp look.
And of course, they all go into the room, and by the way, it's like raining really hard outside, so they're all listening. It's like, huh? It's like, it's coming.
Oh yeah, because what leads up to that is Dominic has to go fetch the doctor. They can't get her to the town of Rush Valley in time because of all the rain. So Dominic leaves by horseback, and then all of a sudden, you have Riddell, Winry, Panina, Edward, and Alphonse there, and then Riddell's trying to comfort his wife, and so Terry says, what's up, honey? What? The baby's coming!
And everybody's just panicking except for Winry, who's standing calm. And this is where we find out a little bit more about Winry. She's like, Edward, give me some warm towels and a basin of water. It's like I forget what she tells Panina. She tells the husband, do you got any alcohol for disinfectant?
Well, alcohol, and I think she sent Panina to get the ice, if I remember, and to supervise in the room.
So you can tell Winry clearly knows something about how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And as Edward and Alphonse are walking with Panina, she asks him,
it was Riddell.
Riddell. He's like, is she a doctor? It's like, no, but she grew up in a family of doctors. Unlike other kids, she grew up with medical texts instead of picture books. So she probably has memories still in her head of how this is supposed to happen.
Which that was a cool thing, because I still like what they do in the original a bit more, because they help. I think it's it's Gracia. They help Gracia deliver her baby, and they help deliver Alicia, which is funny as hell as well. But this was a nice little touch too, because of what it leads to. Because obviously, it leads to them gathering up all that stuff and having to help with the baby, and it's only Panina, Riddell, and Winry in the room, and then you have both Edward and Alphonse sitting there, and another part that leads to probably the character development of the Elrics is that Edward goes, I know we don't believe in God, Alphonse, but just this once, maybe he'll listen. It's a little more skeptical in Japanese, because they didn't say it like that. They said maybe there's something that could give them the belief that this can come through. But I like how in English they still say maybe God will be listening and he can help us out with this, even though if we don't believe ourselves.
Yeah, you can't have that dirty Christianity in a proper Nippon land.
Indeed.
But one of the things I like about Winry actually having some medical knowledge is it kind of plays into her being an automail fanatic. Because, I mean, you would have to if you're going to be making automail prosthetics for people. And they even kind of reference this, when Panina's complaining about how she gets those itches and reactions whenever it starts raining, which, again, nice little attention to detail there.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Thanks for bringing that up. I completely missed that.
Oh, no problem, man.
Sorry, there we go. And then, it leads to that, and then all of a sudden, Terry screams really bad, scaring the Alric brothers who cower in a corner like children, cartoon-like. And then I think we get like a couple hours go by more, and yeah, Panina coming out of the room saying there's so much blood she couldn't take it, and then all of a sudden that's a nice little touch because you have Edward and Alphonse look over worriedly because they're thinking something happened to Sateri and the baby, or baby Sateri and the baby.
Baby's kids.
But yeah, like they go in and it's a nice shot of I believe they had, yeah, I think they had a son, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice shot of their son, and both Riddell and Satara are happy, and then they're all like celebrating, and like Edward's
like, oh, he's so cute.
Yeah, oh yeah, Alphonse is like having a heart over him and dancing between them both, and Riddell and Satara, and then Edward is actually saying, he both says it in English in Japan, that it's awesome, 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 and like Winry calls him out for being a skeptic, and he's like, well, I'm a scientist,
Yeah, he was like, we alchemists have been trying to create life for years, and yet for all we've learned, we still cannot do something like this. Humans are really amazing. She's like, how can you bring alchemy into this? It's like occupational hazard. This is what I do for a living.
Yeah, and that should be the true nature of scientists, but oh well, like we can get that in a couple of other movies later and shows, but of course, as it continues, Winry wants Edward to help her. Edward picks her up and carries her to the chair. They're sort of like having a playful banter back and forth, sort of mocking each other and like saying like what she says, I can't believe I'm being carried by someone who's shorter than me.
It's like I could drop you.
Yeah. And like what happens is right after they say that, she's like, Edward, I saw inside the watch, and then drop.
Yeah. And this is where you find out why she got so emotional when she read that note inside the watch.
Absolutely, and we find out. I think everybody, even when you see the original, I think what that was. Everybody knew what that was about. But they like in the original and in the manga, they replay it to where that's the day they burned down their home right before Edward went off to Central after being certified for a state alchemist license. And they did it so Alphonse and Edward couldn't go back, and Edward did it to like hide the pain of his weakness, but know that he was weak doing that. That all they are still are just humans,
but
regardless of all the knowledge.
I love the line he says, because in the flashback you see that that he's not crying and Winry's crying her eyes out, and again in real life this contrasts with the real life situation where she's the one crying even though she delivered the baby. And he's not, and she's like, how could you not cry? And he's like, I've already shed so many tears, and he kind of looks at her like, why are you crying? It's like, because I'm crying for those who cannot cry. It's for him and Alphonse.
Yeah, she cries for them because they know they have to steal through. They can't waste it on petty emotions. And as bad as some people may find that's true, when you're in the domain of the devil and or God, you have to have like sort of like if you were an agent, and basically the Elric brothers are military, more Edward than Alphonse, but Alphonse practically was military too. That's how I've always viewed it.
Plus, I love how he says, I was so weak on that day. It kills me that I had to etch the reminder of my weakness into that watch to carry it with me.
But then again, I can understand why he did that, because you have to remember your past in order to keep going in the present and to know what you want to do in the future, not forgetting what took place. Because again, always remember it, but don't dwell on it.
Yeah, carry your past with you, but don't let it weigh you down and prevent you from moving forward.
Absolutely, well said there, Jarek. Well said indeed. And I mean, basically, after that happens, and they have their nice little thing, it's like Edward and Winry both grew as characters there. Plus, if you can see, there's a blossoming relationship there. And, of course, Dominic finally comes back the next morning. He's all happy and
granddaddy
and mushy. Edward and Alphonse make fun of him to where he just glares at him. And then all of a sudden, Edward becomes a geisha with a Japanese fan.
Well, for a little bit of context, that he comes back with a doctor, and the doctor's like, this baby was expertly delivered.
Yeah.
I guess there's really nothing much for me to do here except the postnatal cleanup. And it's like, it's really amazing what you did here, miss. And she's like, no, it was nothing really. I just did what I knew I could do, to help this lady and her baby. And you can see the grandfather is just, he doesn't, in typical Japanese fashion, he says it, but he doesn't say it. Like, at one point, Edward's got like this glint in his eyes, like, heh, and he gets behind him, with the fan, and he's like, maybe it would be useful if you could reconsider her as your apprentice. Is like, I told you, I won't take her, and I don't take apprentices. However, I could recommend you to a really outstanding engineer at the base of the valley. Hint, hint.
Yeah.
And she's like, really, sir? It's like, I told you, I don't take apprentices. It's like, but could I come and like watch you work? It's like, well, I suppose if you wanted to come and visit the baby. Again, like in Japanese culture, you say it without saying it.
Yeah, exactly, and it was a nice little scene, and since he basically summed that up perfectly, and Jarek did that awesomely. Thank you, Jarek.
No problem.
Basically, what happens is both Edward and Alphonse run to the train, and they only had, and if they missed it, they'd have to wait 3 days for the next one, and then they're off to Dublin again to see their teacher, with both Winry and Penina seeing them off, and Winry happy for them, and them happy for her.
And we forgot to mention, the old man allows Penina to stay. He's like,
oh yeah,
you and the tomboy.
Yeah, even the tomboy can stay. So, because I mean, he knows how much that Penina's been trying to do for her, and it's a real nice thing. And Jarek, did you say the thing that you wanted to say when you told me about this episode?
That's right.
There was a thing that you said that held a significance for you.
This kind of reminded me of something odd from my own past. I almost forgot. And ironically, living here with Mr. Boku and watching that episode brought it back, because when I was in high school, I had a special ed teacher who was the primary guy who arranged the Special Olympics for UCP, United Cerebral Palsy. And in high school, me and my sister volunteered to help out with that. And I got assigned to a lady who was in a wheelchair to help her with I believe, the 100-meter dash and the swim event. And I'm going to cry right now. I'm sorry.
It's all right, Jarek. It's all right.
When I was holding her up and she was swimming, she had the biggest smile. She was laughing. I have never seen anything like that in my entire life. It was beautiful. And this teacher, God bless his soul, he has 2 sons with cerebral palsy. Mr. Cross, if you're out there.
It's all right. It's all right there, buddy. It's all right there, Jarek. You all right?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, Jarek. I say, folks, we're on off the cuff here. We're doing this live. I know nobody's watching us this time around for at least even a second, or giving us Russian text like we had last time.
I know.
But yeah, for those of you who see this, we're on off the cuff.
But yeah, seeing those scenes with Panini, where the ones where you see her when she's out of the wheelchair, and then when you see her just happy and elated to see the sun again on her own 2 legs, I have to give the team credit. That was amazing.
Yep.
And the attention to detail with little things like, how you have to be careful about staph infections with prosthetics, Winry being able to memorize all that medical stuff because of just how much her parents were just obsessed with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I know anything about that myself, but, this team really did such an amazing, and plus, Edward and Alric just going all goo-goo about the baby.
Yeah.
Because of their own past trauma. This series, one of these days, someone's going to have to do a big psychological deep dive and analysis on this series, because it's just so good.
Yeah, yes. And that's basically the episode in a nutshell. So now we're on to characters who stuck out. I'll take the lead this time, Jarek, since I brought it up and you agreed with me on it. But I'll take the lead to it, because I know Jarek's gonna probably agree with me, because they're the 2 biggest characters to know that had the best development in this episode. Edward Elric and Winry Rockbell.
Oh, without a doubt.
Romy Paku, Vic Mignogna, Megumi Takamoto, Caitlin Glass. Great performances from both. Really great stuff. I liked how Romy Paku in Japanese, when she was making fun of Winry Rockbell for crying, Romy Paku in Japanese says, "You dumbass," where Vic Mignogna says, "Idiot." But still, I love both iterations. It comes across as how these 2 care for one another, how seeing these miracles make them think, what they're striving towards, what they want to do. And it is really good. I mean, Caitlin Glass really brought emotion to the character, as did Megumi Takamoto, Romy Paku, just having that hopeful but yet deep down sadness. Vic Mignogna bringing that out too, really great in English. I mean, both characters and performances from both the Japanese and the English actors were really well done.
And you got to hand Vic credit, man. Trying to act in a way where you're playing someone who's repressing the pain, trying to go forward but not worry everyone else, while you have someone who clearly understands but just cannot help. But in that situation, that is a very hard thing to do. That is a level of subtlety and nuance most people will never reach.
I mean, again, really quick, since I know Jarek agreed with me and he agreed with the assumption, so he really doesn't probably have to have much more to say in it too, because we both summed it up really well right here. But I will say, for you guys who want to get into voice acting, as a side note here, voice acting is not easy. It's fun, but it's just as hard as if you were doing on-stage acting or in a movie. You have to know how to emote and get these lines right. Otherwise, you come out stoic and just boring.
In fact, actually, it's a lot tougher because you don't have the physical acting. You don't have the blocking. You don't see the other people. And sometimes, given the differences, in the dub speed and whatnot, you really have to understand the differences in different languages. Like if it's a Japanese show and it's being translated to English, you need to understand the differences not only in how the language is spoken, but how they structure their sentences in comparison to your language. Because I'll be honest with you, English is a very inefficient language in terms of communication. So
we've added so much slang and everything and stuff to our language over
and that's kind of the thing, because Bennett White from Anime Abandoned put it far better than I do. There is a lot of things that do not work in English compared to Japanese. It's a very tricky thing, and people, by God, please do something like community theater first before you decide to go VA or full acting. Just find a nice down-home theater troupe, spend a couple of years seeing what it's all about, really immerse yourself, then decide if it's for you. Because remember, acting is an ensemble effort. It doesn't matter how passionate you are. Even if you get along with the director, there will be other people involved. Yes. And just remember, you're not always going to get along with all of them. Amber Heard.
And also as well, be grateful for any role you get, big or small, and do your best in that role, big or small.
And like my drama teacher told me, never be ashamed to be the support character, because honestly, even they're the guys who set up everything. They have to build up all the lines and all the situations for the main character. They're not really supposed to be seen or noticed, but if you do a good job, just like that one guy in Game of Thrones, the little guy, what's his name?
Little guy? Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage. Just like him, he was supposed to be like a support character, but man, did he steal the show with how good he was.
As Tyrion. See, that's why in the first season it was Sean Bean who was the main character, because they never intended Peter Dinklage for the main character. But right after that first season, that's why when any episode had Peter Dinklage in it, Peter Dinklage was the first build, because he was that good.
Yeah.
And he earned the right. He earned the right to be the main character of that show.
And that's the thing, take whatever role you're given, just do the hell out of it, because I guarantee you, if you do it well, and everybody, people will notice. Because I've had times where people forget their lines on stage, and I had to feed it to them right there with the audience watching.
And I mean, obviously, you'll get that. And as a quick side note before we move on to the final thoughts, I just want to tell you guys that, for instance, seeing this stuff and watching the special features and knowing how they do this in English too, this is why I respect dub a lot more than I did as a kid, because not every word in Japanese can be greatly translated to perfection. Very few anime and anime movies have that. Like the two that I think they translated it word for word almost was, I think, Hellsing in some ways, especially the Hellsing OVAs, where they got very close to the script, and Akira. Because Akira, word for word, is the same in English as it is in Japanese, and I'm not kidding you on that. It's because I've watched both, and there's maybe only a few lines of dialogue in English that are different because of how they wanted the reactions to be. But it's pretty much those scripts are very almost on the nose to each other. That's how good they are.
Yeah, and let's just say certain aspects of culture and humor are never going to translate.
Well, yeah, in either Japanese or English, because some of the things you get in Japanese are just like you sort of look at that, go, huh?
McDonald's?
But yeah, or Whacknolds, like in Inuyasha, or some of the other weird ones they've done. But yeah, that's pretty much the characters there. And our final thoughts. A fun episode and a good episode for character development. That's pretty much all I could say. I mean, it was fun watching the Miracle of Birth and seeing how this motivates the Elrics. It was nice seeing Winry and Edward develop. I mean, so really fun and good episode. I would say it was probably done because of how, like in the manga and in this show of Brotherhood, because it's different in the original. But for Brotherhood and in the manga, I think this was done because you needed a little happy breakup between what happened to Maze Hughes.
And plus, getting deeper context for Winry is always good because she is just such an absolute joy to watch.
Yeah, I mean, she's good in both the original and in Brotherhood, but Brotherhood is where she really shines because she has so much more to do in Brotherhood. That's where another thing is that I will give Brotherhood credit, and it's great. I mean, it is. So I mean, good episode in my opinion. I give it a thumbs up.
I give it an awoo out of 10.
All right. But again, as you guys know, since we're ending it here, what do you think? Again, are you a fan of this here? I mean, do you like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood? Again, I know I keep saying it, but again, for people who can be new, that's why I say it. Do you like it, or do you appreciate the artistry and what the characters do and all that, like me and Jarek do? But, as always, just leave a comment down below, and if you want, give a thumbs up. We appreciate it. And
or are you just here for the tiny mini skirts?
Yeah, if you're like Ray Mustang, which personally in this show, there really isn't that much nudity or perversion. I mean, there is a bit, but that really isn't the focus of this at all.
Yeah.
Hiromu Arikawa, I think that was not part of her plan, really. It's there, but it's more subtle than an
yeah,
way more subtle.
He doesn't get to be the goofball he was in the first one.
Nope. And well, which is why I also like the first one, because that girlfriend stuff is front and center. I mean, it is in this too, but I'll just mention it as an early spoiler. There's a reason he's dating many women, and it's part of the plan. That's what I'll say for now. It's part of the plan. It isn't just he's a womanizer. There's a reason he meets so many women. But either way, this is 012Boku,
Lord himself.
All right. And we will come at you with another episode, hopefully very soon. And until then, guys, have a good night. Deuces.
Deuces. Oh, man, that was good.
Indeed.